Hello everyone, Kezavern here with some mini game advice. The first thing I'm going to recommend for starting this video is that if you can, before you jump into doing dozens and dozens of mini games, start the Great Gamer mission, as it will kind of overlap a lot of the stuff you're going to be doing, or the stuff I'm going to be showing here. So I'll basically fill out this whole mission right here as I'm doing all these games. So I'll get the reward for the mission, and I'll get the reward for playing these games. So let's take a look at some of them. I did go over Touch Pool a bit in the first video, but I'll just recap it here. This is a basic kind of hover over game. You just have to hold either your mouse or your finger over the thing you're trying to identify, and it will just take a second. You usually have to move your finger or your mouse around to follow the object as it moves, and once you have it, you get gems, and it will check off on your overall list of the 30 things you have to discover. And once you've discovered all 30 of them, you will get all the little stuffy rewards, and you will get the 30 sapphires that come as a overall reward for finishing the game. And so there's not a whole lot to explain. I can't really say there's a lot of tricks to it. Just that maybe for the hermit crabs that duck down, you have to kind of hold down in front of them slowly so that they don't jump down into the sand. Other than that, it's a very straightforward game, very easy to play. I would definitely recommend it as one of your first, as it is a very quick way to get sapphires. My next personal favorite is a game called Roll, where you get to play as an adorable little hedgehog looking guy. I'm not sure if he's a hedgehog, but I'm just going to assume he is for now. Anyways, you just roll through these little levels, collect gems as you go, and if you complete them within a certain time frame, you get 3 stars on the level and move on to the next one. And there are some tricks on this one. It looks very straightforward from the first few levels, but you actually have to do some odd things to get through it. So let me just skip ahead to those. On some of these levels, what appears to be the main path is not actually the best path. Sometimes there's a little side area or something, like an extra ramp or a pipe you have to go up and across, or even jump over walls to get there. So just go through it. You can see here on some of these there's definitely a faster way than the main path to get to the finish line. And this is not the case for all of the levels. I think there's only 4 or 5 of them that have this little kind of alternate route trick to them. And the hardest one by far is definitely the final level. And that one is a mixture of delayed timing and then just skill to get through it as quickly as you can, given that it's so many moving platforms. I definitely failed this one 20, 30 times, I don't know, I lost count. But you'll fall off the edge of these little platforms that move around so many times before you can get it. And as I always say, the most important thing is to have fun. If you get too frustrated with any one of these mini games, like this final level, just take a break from it, move on to something else. You can always come back to them later. There is a way to get through all of these at some point, and they definitely build it, so some of the final levels, or some of the hard modes on some of these are very difficult, but they can be done. But if you're not having fun with it, I would recommend, don't do it. Games are meant to be played for fun, and if you're just getting frustrated by falling off the edges too many times, then it's time to switch it up. In any case, the roll levels are very quick, so you can get at least 15 sapphires out of the mini game there, if not the full 30, within a pretty short time. Moving on to one of the next games here, Pill Bugs. This one's also very straightforward. My only advice is try to get rid of the bugs on the upper sides first, as some of the levels, they're very hard to shoot. In fact, some of them are so far up to the sides that you have to kind of ricochet one of your shots up into the side to hit them, because even shooting directly to the side, they're too high up. And that's in some of the later levels. So that's about all there is to it. The later levels get a little more crazy than these ones, but it's all pretty much the same. And while you're going through all these little mini games, you'll be getting lots of gems and little bits of sapphires here and there. It's not a whole lot, you know, 5 here, 10 there. Maybe you'll complete them all and get the 15 at the end. But it all adds up, and it's, you know, just whichever ones are fun for you. So I'm going to keep going through them. A Puppy's Tail is another great one. I definitely had a lot of fun with this. You just draw the shape of whatever is over the little phantoms that are attacking you. And whether you're doing this with a PC, a tablet, or a phone, it's all very doable. You just have to be quick. The very start of it seems easy, but then when you get to the later part of it, you realize that there is a lot coming at you all at once, and the key is really just not to get overwhelmed. Just focus on 1 or 2 things, and sometimes you have to draw shapes that are most frequent on the screen versus what's closest to you, just to try to get rid of as many as you can all at once, because if you do like a line to the side or a circle and there's multiple of those on the screen, it will hit all of them at the same time. So yeah, just stay calm and be very fast. Longshot's a nice easy one. That's not necessarily giving you a reward for making it crazy far. Your reward is kind of accumulative between all the different plays you do. So if you only get like a distance of 200 on one and then, you know, 400 on the other, it'll still add up to 600, and it keeps adding and adding and adding the more you play it. So it's not really about being, you know, really successful on one run, although you can, you know, get well over 1,000 on a single run. But this one also is a lot about luck. These little gophers or fissures in the ground, things that push you up and make you go faster, you really have no control after you get started when you're going to hit them or how to hit them. You can do little tricks by clicking down when you're in midair, but that also puts you at risk of crashing. So you just kind of, you know, do the long shot through the whole game and just see how far you get. I definitely feel like the more tricks I try to do, I can get a little bit further on this, so the tricks might help you go a little faster. Don't quote me on that. It might just be my wishful thinking. You might be just as well off just launching it and then sitting back and doing nothing. The tricks may just be to get you more gems as you go through. I can't say for sure because, like I said, it is all, you know, very luck based. So that's all for that one. Next up is the Phantom Dodger. This one, like a puppy tail or a puppy's tail, is all about being quick. You have to dodge these phantoms as the screen goes up, and you can move around into any position you want, but the screen will constantly move at the same rate, and you have a lot of phantoms to dodge. My only advice really is that you can use the sides a little bit more than you think to dodge things. Often the phantoms that are circling around the middle look nearly impassable. You can sometimes squeeze by them on the very edge, but sometimes you also get hit by them. So just try it, see if you like it. This one, much like Longshot, is kind of an accumulative reward, so it's not about getting to a certain distance on a single run. It's just about doing, you know, so many runs over a period of time, and all the distances add up to get you a reward. So the more you play, the more rewards you get. Moving on to Falling Phantoms. I did this a little bit in the first video, but I'll go over it more here. You are dodging side to side against other players. So on this one, the reward comes from getting first place. There's a few mini games like this. Anyways, to get first place or to dodge the phantoms, you kind of just have to watch where they're coming from, not necessarily, you know, down where you are. Just kind of be aware of where you are and just watch to where they're going. It gets, you know, difficult towards the end, but you kind of get the hang of it. You know, it's one of those games, the more you play, the more you get used to it. You kind of understand and get the feel for it. My main advice is that it is actually safer out towards the middle, and that may not seem correct if you know, see most of them hitting towards the middle, but the problem with hiding out on the sides is you're trapping yourself, and if a whole bunch of them happen to fall all towards the one side you're on, you will not have time to escape them. So staying towards the middle has been my best strategy towards winning, and so You just kind of have to stay, you can go off to one side and you can see I get a lot of the extra gems, but yeah, the middle's your best bet. And with that, I would like to take a second to introduce you to another way you can interact with all the minigames. So there's the selection that you have with your little controller up at the top left of your screen. You can also go to the arcade. That's right, there's an arcade next to the Sapphire shop in JAMA Township here. So you can go in there, and I'm pretty sure well, not every single game is there in the game, but most of them. So you can select through this way, and it's a great little area to just hang out and play some games. Now, the best guess game here doesn't really need a lot of explanation or advice. All I can say is those fun facts you find all around the world, or even during the play of other minigames. You might want to stop and read some of those, because they will actually help you if you want to play the best guess game. Most of the facts in this game come from all the other facts all around the world, so just be aware of that. Alright, exploring the arcade here. I think the next thing to show is going to be Escape the Phantoms. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm actually not very good at this one. I'm not sure why. I think I'd be good at it, but you just can't be good at everything. And that's what's great about there being so many minigames. You don't have to be good at them all. You can just find the ones you like and play those ones through. Either way, I'll show you this one. You just go through and you kind of click and swipe and slash and do all kinds of things to get through it. You're constantly running from the phantoms trying to get you, and if you hit something you slow down a bit, but you can speed back up if you get the little lightning bolt things along the side. There are these trees that have a spiky fruit, and you can grab those and throw them into the rocks, otherwise you'll hit the rocks and slow down. So yeah, I can't really say there's a lot of advice. This is another one where you just have to be really fast on to get through it. Oh, and the little phantoms that get in your way, I find you kind of have to swipe up and down on them. Swiping side to side doesn't really seem to work for me. But yeah, just play through, make little circles around the treasure chests to open them, and see how far you get. Oh yes, and every time you pass one of these finish lines, your overall speed increases, and it just keeps on going up and up and up the further you get. So it definitely gets harder the further you get into these levels. Moving on to one called Jumbled Up. For all you kiddos with good eyes, this one might be for you. And even if you do have good eyes, you also have to learn a bit about object identification and pulling shapes and colors out of a huge mess of shapes and colors. So in Jumbled Up, you're just trying to find specific objects in a, well, jumbled up mess of objects. It takes a little bit of training your eye to get used to this sometimes. Other times people are just naturally really good at it, so who knows how good you'll be at it until you try it. My main advice with doing this one is to seek out the colors of these objects first, and then look for their shapes. And this is all taking place within like half a second. Your eye can identify all these different things about it. So being quick helps, especially on the fourth rounds of each of these stages, because that one is timed down to 60 seconds, so you do have to get kind of quick at finding things. You're also inevitably going to run into a bunch of objects that look like the object you're looking for, and there's no way around that. I just, instead of not clicking them, I just click a whole bunch of stuff that looks the same, and you'll eventually find the right ones. So it's your strategy. Clicking around randomly isn't really going to work out, though. I've tried that, and that's just a whole lot of clicking. And some of these objects, it's not about like randomly clicking or just trying to find them there. Sometimes you really do have to zoom in, because they can be so small, and you would not expect them to be that small. Anyways, you can get your 5 sapphires out of this one relatively fast. You can get an additional 10 to make up 15 within a little bit of time. Getting the full 30 from this one, though, does require you to play quite a bit. I think it's a total of a couple hundred objects you have to find to get the full 30. And if you're not having fun while you're finding objects, I wouldn't recommend sticking around with this game and doing that for a really, really long time. Because as always, play the ones that are fun for you. The gems and sapphires will just kind of pile up on their own. I don't really focus on getting them, I just collect them over time. But moving on to the next game, we'll be doing Pest Control. Now this is a tower defense style game, if you understand what that is. If not, you can just watch. It's easy, medium, hard mode. I'll just go through real quick. You just place down the little things, they're like plants, and they will try to eat the bugs. So it's like a carnivorous plant for the first levels, and then you move on to the frogs, and then the geckos and the snakes. So you'll need all of the 4 different tower types to accomplish victory at the end. But it's not terribly difficult for the easy stage. It gets a little bit harder for medium. I'll just show you the end of the easy here, and then I'll skip to the end of the medium stage to kind of show you the tower layout I have. I wish I currently had a winning layout for the hard mode one, but I don't. I'm sure someone out there does, so you can find their thing. My advice is, of course, keep the towers to their range level. That means the little geckos, they only attack one thing next to them, so putting them on the corners is a good idea. If you put them where they can only hit like 2 little tiles, that's not going to be a very good placement for them. So you just have to be aware of, the range of each tower and where it's going to go in relation to where these little bugs run down the runways. Moving right along, the next one up is Gem Breaker. So this is a very standard type of game. I've seen 100 games like this. My advice is just be aware you can ricochet these little things off the walls. Obviously, the more you match of a specific color, the more points or gems you will get for that. But overall, it's a pretty basic game. Just, break the little parts. Don't let them stack up too much towards the bottom, or you will have to redo the level. These are just the starting levels, but the later ones, from what I've seen, don't really get too much more complex. There's a few additional type of objects that come up later on. Such as walls you have to break and other things, but the phantoms will fall down as you break through these different things, and you'll complete the objectives, and that's about all there is to it. Moving right along, the next thing we have is the JAMA Derby, basically a horse race. Now this is another style of game where to get the rewards you do need to get first place, kind of like the Falling Phantoms thing. And my advice to getting first place is do not burn through your little booster or carrot thing right at the start, because there's no obstacle right when you start. And these little boosts can actually help you run through obstacles at full speed, so you don't have to worry about slowing down when you hit them. So using them right when you start is a mistake. Other than that, just watch your timing, try to jump right when you get to the edge of some of the larger obstacles, and you just kind of have to go for it. Sometimes other people are going to be absolutely perfect, and it's really hard to beat them, and other times you'll just get lucky, and other people will trip up, and you won't, and you'll win. So, just a fun little game to play. Now I'm just collecting the initial 5 sapphires for the majority of these games. There's only a few of them I play up to getting 15 or the full 30, and those are the ones that I like. All the others I'm fine with just getting the quick 5, and if you pay attention to like your daily spin and all that other stuff, you can get plenty of sapphires in your first few days here. Next up is Block Break. Very limited advice on this one, as it is a very basic Pong game. You just hit the different little blocks and they break. If you can get the ball moving more to the side instead of just up and down and up and down, you're actually doing less work, and the ball has a better chance of like getting in to little spaces and just doing a lot more damage to a whole bunch of blocks around it. Going, purely vertical, you will only ever hit one block at a time, so try to put as much angle on that ball as you can, and yeah, that's about it. Just get through the levels. They're not terribly difficult. They might redo the levels at some point. I've noticed with some of these mini games they do updates here and there. So who knows, maybe someday this will become a little more challenging than it is now, but I'm only going for the first 5 sapphires on this one, and then I'll move on. Next up we have Fast Foodies. My advice on this one would be preparation. So the first level, we'll just skip through that. You have to get back to where you have like icy smoothie things and plates and all this other stuff going on. This is towards like the middle levels. Towards the last levels it gets pretty crazy, but the theme is kind of the same throughout. You have to prepare these foods as quickly as possible, and the best way to do that is to like get the ice in the smoothies, get the plates out. Before there's even customers coming in, you know, you have to get things ready. And then if the second you see like, I don't know, that they want a smoothie, you have to start the smoothie or the thing that takes the longest to make that thing first, or at least get it started, and then do the other smaller things as it's going. Just focus on one at a time if you can. In the later levels it's not possible. You will have to do a whole lot of multitasking, but it is one of the games that you can get 30 sapphires from a little bit quicker than others if you're good at it. So I'd say give it a try, it's a fun one. One of the last on the list here is Overflow. So this is like a sandcastle type game. You just redirect the little channels for the water to go down, and it will get up to the sandcastle. Very basic, very straightforward. I can't really give you like, you know, expert tips even on the expert levels. You just kind of have to figure it out. If you haven't done it before, I wouldn't start on the expert levels, as it might be kind of confusing as to what's going on, so try it out on the easy ones first. But yeah, you just do it and you'll eventually get the rewards. This one does have a little bit more of a long gameplay to it in order to get rewards, so it's up to you if you want to try it. And then last, there is a hidden minigame. Well, not super hidden, but it's not listed on the main thing of minigames, nor can you find it in the arcade. Head into the Chamber of Knowledge and then go in through the main doors, past the pet combination area, which we're going to ignore for now, and upstairs to the observatory area. Sky Explorer, it does not give you sapphires, but it is a fun little game with its own reward. And it's good to know about this area because there's a shop here you can buy kind of unique items from. So anyways, let's look at Sky Explorer. It's basically doing constellations. If you like constellations and space and all that stuff, then this game is for you. The general concept of it is pretty simple. Click on star groups and then it will zoom you in so that you can form the constellations between the stars. I know most of them, not all of them, so I kind of have to guess around towards the end. You can guess your way through it just by trying to, you know, drag in between all the different little stars and just see if it connects or not. Kind of a trial and error way. Or when you're all done with it, you can look through the book here and it will show you what they all look like, even though they're unknown. You can kind of figure out what to do from the book, seeing what they are. And just go through and get them all. And you see the little, there's like a prize meter on the side. Once you complete all 22 constellations here, you will get a random holographic image of one of the constellations that you can decorate your den with, or you could sell for sapphires. So yeah, you can kind of get sapphires from it, but it's a little bit slow going. So just something to do if you want to do it for fun. It is time again for Alpha Item Giveaway. With each video, I will be giving away one free Alpha Item to one of the first 10 people who post a comment on my YouTube channel about how Animal Jam rocks. Now, in order to win, you must also post your username, of course, and that is a bit risky, so go ahead and make sure you have two-step verification on before you share your username out in the public. And as always with Animal Jam, don't share any personal details. Don't know what alpha items are? That's okay. You can go to Coral Canyons, to the player market access point, and look them up. Most of them are quite expensive, between 1,000 to 5,000 sapphires each, so I think it's definitely worth putting that comment in there to see if you can win one. That is about it for today's video. And don't forget there is that mission, the Great Gamers mission, if you want to try to do that while you're doing the games. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any additional comments or questions, feel free to leave them here as well. Until next time, you guys keep on jamming.